Hi students, welcome to Narayana Medical Academy. I am Dr. B. Kalyan Swami. I am zoology lecturer working in Narayana Medical Academy. I am teaching zoology for MSET NEET purpose since 1989. Today I am going to deal with the chapter excretory products and their elimination. NEET point of view, it is very important chapter. From this there is a possibility of occurring two questions. What is excretion? What is the need for excretion? What is the excretion in each and every living organism as a result of metabolic activities in the cell or as a result of excessive ingestion of food, some waste products forms in the body, waste metabolites forms in the body. Some of them are more toxic, no doubt. Majority of toxic products are detoxified in the liver, but some are not detoxified. They has to be eliminated. They has to be eliminated from the body. The process of elimination of nitrogenous waste from the body only called as excretion. That is called what? Excretion. This excretion is compulsory in all organisms starting from unicellular organisms to us higher mammals, human beings. In unicellular organisms, how the excretion takes place? In unicellular organisms like amoeba, most of the ammonia that diffuses out through the body surface, a simple process called a diffusion. In addition to this diffusion process, freshwater protozoans, they also consist contractile vacuoles that are meant for maintaining osmoregulation, that collects the excess of water from the cytoplasm, sends that water to outside, and in that way maintains the body fluid concentration. Along with that, some nitrogenous waste are also collected and that are also sent to the outside. That's why contractile vacuoles in amoeba like freshwater organisms primarily helps in osmoregulation and secondarily helps in excretion. Then coming to next, first metazoan group, poriferans, cnidarians. In poriferans, cnidarians and ctenophores also, the excretion takes place through body surface by a simple process called as diffusion. First time in the history of animal kingdom, definite excretory organs appeared in phylum Platyhelminthes. Are the first organisms to have definite excretory organs. Here protonephridia are present. Primitive nephridia are present as excretory organs. Protonephridia, also called as flame bulb. These protonephridia, which are present in Platyhelminthes and also present in rotifers, a group of pneumatic helminthic organisms, also present in larval forms of molluscans, and one group of chordates. Which group of chordates? Cephalochordates also consist the protonephridia, where they are also called as solenocytes, flame bulb or solenocytes. These are primitive nephridia. No doubt this protonephridia, same like contractile vacuoles of amoeba, they are primarily meant for osmoregulation, secondarily helps in excretion. Secondarily helps in excretion. Then coming to in nemathe-helminthic animals, definite excretory duct forms. One of the excretory duct opens to outside through excretory pore and provided with specialized cells called as renate cells. Renate cells, excretory ducts with renate cells that helps in excretion. Next, in Annelida, particularly you have to remember annelids. Excretory system is mesodermal in origin, but in Annelida major excretory organs are nephridia. Major excretory organs are nephridia, which are ectodermal in origin. In addition to nephridia, chlorogogen cells present in earthworms, botryoidal tissue present in leeches, that also helps in excretion. Then coming in arthropods, a variety of excretory organs are present in terrestrial arthropods like insects. At the junction of midgut and hindgut, several yellow colored filamentous structures are present. They are arranged in 6 bundles. They are called as Malpighian tubules. Which helps in excretion. This is in terrestrial insects. In aquatic arthropods like crustaceans, that includes crabs, prawns, specialized excretory organs are present that are called about green glands. Or antennary glands. Green glands or antennary glands are present that helps in excretion. Then in crabs, prawns, etc. In some, no need, but in some like scorpions, spiders, which are arachnids, in addition to Malpighian tubules, coxal glands are also present. That helps in excretion. Then coming to next group, molluscans. In molluscans, already I told, in larval forms, protonephridia are present. In adults, metanephridia are present. In adults, what are present? Metanephridia are present. In addition to this metanephridia, in molluscans, in the wall of the heart, some specialized glands are present. Called as pericardial glands that secretes the nitrogenous waste from the blood flowing through the heart, discharges into the pericardial sinus space, from where the metanephridia collects the nitrogen waste and releases that toward outside. Here metanephridia are the major excretory organs. In addition to the pericardial glands present in the wall of the heart also helps in excretion. In some molluscans like Unio, specialized organs called as Keber's organs are organ of Bojanus. These also helps in excretion. In some molluscans like a freshwater molluscan Unio, organ of Bojanus, Keber's organs also helps in excretion. Okay students, clear. Then in the next phylum, in the Echinodermata, no specialized respiratory system, no specialized respiratory organs. Again, the excretion takes place by a simple process, diffusion, that is through body surface. Then in hemichordates, what is the excretory organ hemichordates? Proboscis gland that helps in excretion in hemichordates. Then coming to protochordates, what are protochordates, my dear students? Protochordates are urochordates and cephalochordates. So about the cephalochordates already we discussed. What are the excretory organs in cephalochordates? Protonephridia, where they are called as solenocytes. What about urochordates? A neural gland is present. What is present? Neural gland is present. That helps in excretion. Coming to next, vertebrates. In all vertebrates, the kidneys are major excretory organs. Kidneys are major excretory organs. They may be either pronephric or mesonephric or metanephric. Pronephric kidney is seen in larval forms of vertebrates. Mesonephric kidney is characteristic feature of cyclostomes like Petromyzon and Myxin, and characteristic fishes that is Pisces and amphibians. In cyclostomes, fishes and amphibians, kidneys are mesonephric type. In reptiles, aves, that means birds, and mammals, the kidneys are which type, my dear friends? They are metanephric type. Then coming to nature of the excretory material which they are excreting, the animals are categorized into three groups. Ammonotelic, ureotelic and uricotelic. No doubt these are major categories. Addition, this some eliminate the amino acids directly, which are called as aminotelic. Some eliminate the guanine, which are called guanotelic like spider, but these are not major. Mainly the animals are categorized into three groups based on the nitrogenous product that they are eliminating. Ammonotelic, already clearly it is understood. They excrete the nitrogenous waste in the form of ammonia. Ammonia is more toxic, that is neutralized to what? Urea. Urea is converted to uric acid in some. No doubt ammonia is more toxic, but elimination of nitrogenous waste in the form of ammonia is least expensive. Elimination of nitrogen in the form of ammonia is a passive process, no energy is required. But the elimination of nitrogenous waste in the form of urea or uric acid, it is more expensive, it requires the utilization of energy. These two are active process. Elimination of nitrogenous waste in the form of urea and uric acid is active process because energy is required. Elimination of nitrogen in the form of ammonia does not require energy, it is a passive process. This ammonia is simply diffuses to outside through body surface. All the organisms which are excreting the nitrogen in the form of ammonia, they are aquatic. No terrestrial organism is amonotelic. If you go to insects also, don't confuse there. Terrestrial insects are uricotelic, but aquatic insects are again amonotelic. If you go to molluscans also there, land snails are terrestrial. Land snails are terrestrial, they are uricotelic. But aquatic snails are not uricotelic. Not uricotelic. They are again amonotelic. Here, why all aquatic animals are amonotelic? If ureotelic animal like us, if we eliminate the nitrogenous base in the form of ammonia, what happens? It may make the environment toxic. Here, as the surrounding medium is water, ammonia immediately after diffusing into water, it gets dissolved into that and it gets neutralized. That facility is not there in case of terrestrial animals. That's why the terrestrial animals, they can be either ureotelic or uricotelic, but never be amonotelic. Next, coming to these animals which are excreting the nitrogenous waste mainly in the form of urea, they are called about ureotelic. Here urea is ureotelic animals, that includes what? Amphibians, mammals and annelids. They are ureotelic. Annelids like earthworm, amphibians like adult frog, but again here tadpole larva is amonotelic. And mammals, they are ureotelic. In addition to this, chondrichthyes, cartilage fishes are ureotelic. But these cartilage fishes, all cartilage fishes are marine in habitat. To maintain the osmoregulation in these cartilage fishes, most of the urea is retained in the blood. That is called a physiological uremia. That to increase the blood concentration to maintain osmoregulation. In mammals also, a part of urea is retained in the body to maintain osmolarity of medullary tissue fluid. Out of all these animals, mammals excretes hypertonic urine. What is the meaning of this? The urine excreted by mammals is highly concentrated compared to their body fluids, compared to blood mainly. Why mammals are excreting hypertonic urine? Due to presence of a U-shaped structure in the nephron. What is this U-shaped structure, my dear students? That is loop of Henle. That is what? Loop of Henle, which plays a key role. Loop of Henle or Henle's loop, key role in production of hypertonic urine. Then already there is very excretion of nitrogenous waste in the form of uricotelic. It is more expensive. Which animals are uricotelic? Terrestrial insects, land snails, reptiles, birds, they are uricotelic. They excrete the nitrogenous waste in the form of uric acid. Mainly animals are divided into amonotelic, uricotelic and ureotelic. Expulsion of nitrogenous waste in the form of ammonia is a passive process. It is less expensive, no energy is required. Simply by diffusion through body surfaces, diffuses out. All the organisms which are amonotelic, they are aquatic, no question of terrestrial organism. Already what happens if terrestrial organs excrete the nitrogen in the form of ammonia, that already I explained. Here bony fishes, coming to bony fishes, they are amonotelic. They excrete the nitrogenous waste in the form of ammonium ions. No doubt all fishes consist mesonephric kidneys. Bony fishes also consist mesonephric kidneys. Mesonephric kidneys, bony freshwater fishes. But most of the ammonia in these animals, that is eliminated through the surface epithelium of gills. Surface epithelium of gills, which are major respiratory organs of fishes. Most of the ammonia is excreted in the form of NH4 plus ions. NH4 plus through epithelium of gills. Here no doubt mesonephric kidneys are present, but role of kidneys in the process of excretion, in the elimination of nitrogenous waste in bony fishes, freshwater bony fishes, it is negligible. Here gills plays a key role. Gills plays a key role in the process of excretion. This is about ammonotelic, ureotelic and uricotelic. Coming to directly toward human excretory system. Human excretory system. Human excretory system includes one pair of kidneys and ureters. Next, what? Urinary bladder, one urinary bladder. Ureters, we can call them as urinogenital ducts, urethra. Urinogenital ducts or urethra. Then about the kidneys of vertebrates, the kidneys are mesodermal in origin. They are retroperitoneal. Already I told, in all organisms excretory system is mesodermal in origin. Excretory organs are derived from mesoderm, except what? Nephridia of annelids. They are ectodermal. Kidneys are dark reddish colored structures, mesodermal in origin. They are retroperitoneal. What do you mean by retroperitoneal? Any organ which is partially covered by peritoneal layers, not completely, that is called as retroperitoneal. Kidneys are with peritoneal layer only on their ventral side. Their lateral sides, dorsal side, without peritoneal layer. That's why they are retroperitoneal. Why kidneys are retroperitoneal? Because the kidneys are not situated in the body cavity. They are situated in the abdominal region outside their body cavity. In between dorsal body wall and this somatic mesoderm. They are situated outside the body cavity. The space where the kidneys are located, that is a lymphatic sinus, that is called as cisterna magna or subvertebral lymph sinus. As they are situated in all vertebrates, not only in human, in all vertebrates, kidneys are outside the body cavity in cisterna magna or subvertebral lymph sinus. As their only ventral sides are towards the body cavity, the ventral sides only covered by peritoneal layer. Which peritoneum? Somatic mesoderm. That's why they are said to be what? Retroperitoneal. In all vertebrates, kidneys are enclosed in a adipose tissue capsule, which acts as a shock absorber, that is called as renal corpuscle or capsule. Not corpuscle, renal capsule. What is renal corpuscle? Malphizian body, also called as renal corpuscle. In all vertebrates, whether it is a mesonephric kidney or metanephric kidney, they are retroperitoneal, mesodermal, enclosed in a subvertebral lymph sinus called as cisterna magna, enclosed by an adipose tissue capsule which acts as a shock absorber, which protects the kidneys from external shock jacks, called renal capsule. In all vertebrates it is common. Okay students, in the next class we will discuss about the human excretory system, kidney structure of kidneys in human beings, nephrons in human excretory system we will discuss.